None of this is real.
Let's roll into recent event topics.
That was recent.
I want to know why the Electoral College is so damn hard for people to understand. They're like, you see it on TikTok and Instagram, and they're like, oh my gosh, why is there so much red compared to so much blue?
I don't think anybody's actually taken the time. I think
They don't.
it's mainly young kids, and they haven't taken the time to actually understand it. Like they haven't given it.
As
any
much
thought
as I
at
don't
all.
like CNBC News, they had a really good portrayal of what the Electoral College is for. They basically showed people in masses and dots. So like the bigger the amount of people there was big dots. So like LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York City are these gigantic dots versus like out here in the boonies in Benson, you got this little teeny tiny dot compared to Tucson. So if we didn't have Electoral College, then basically 4 cities would be able to dictate the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what I'm also what the argument is for the people who actually understand it is, if we just did pure votes, you know what I mean? Because the Electoral College, to my understanding, like even if it's close, they can kind of decide. Yeah.
And they can still decide even when it's not close, though.
Oh. But, like, I tweeted the other day about it. I was like, there's two, like, characteristics of understanding the Electoral College. It's like how dense the population is and how dense the population is.
Yeah. Sure.
And I was like, that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one. But it's like people just, like, freak out about it all the time. And it's like, you gotta fact check it, man. Which apparently, what you got going on?
You know, UFOs.
Okay, next topic. Should recreational drugs be federally legal?
So here's my theory on that. If you decide that that is what you should do, you should be willing to accept the repercussions of what that may cause. Not saying that you as an individual should not be legally be able to do that, but like, say if they were to make everything legal, like they don't care what you do to your body, then it becomes more of a survival of the fittest.
Exactly.
And then it takes the government out of that situation, so then people to people would be like, that dude's a meth addict. He doesn't do anything with his life, and he keeps doing all these thefts and robberies, and like, he's a bad dude. So obviously he's going to pay, it's going to have repercussions. Like, rather than everybody with this whole thing on weed, where people are saying like, oh, weed's horrible for you. Like, there's medical studies
People
that show
still say
that
that?
weed can help some people. It's a good pain reliever, and for people who don't like to take opioids, that's a really safe alternative on the other hand. So like, for the government, I feel like it's just a way for the government to just cinch in a little bit more control when there is no need for it. Because ultimately, if you come from a family of meth addicts, that family's ultimately going to end. Like, that bloodline's going to end because natural order will take place. Survival of the fittest will take over, and you'll basically die out.
No, for sure.
Like, then you're solving so many issues because then people are actually have legitimate freedom to do what they want with their life. And if they choose to just destroy it, like...
And the government can tax it.
Exactly. Well, I don't think that the government should
if they regulate
allow it to be legally sold. I think that they shouldn't have any regulations on it, period.
Oh. So it's like, we don't care where you get it from or where you made it?
Yeah.
There's not going to be, like, cocaine distribution centers, like...
You can't legally, like, I'm not saying legally open a business where that you can go in and get methamphetamines and cocaine and that kind of thing, but like...
Like, you can make your own gasoline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not taxed, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm on board with, like, what you're saying. It's like that's, like, the whole thing about, like, the free world. Like, if you want to do that, and you can't, like, forecast your future... But then that goes back to, like, what we were talking about before. If you can do heroin and like be a high functioning member of society, you should be able to. Like if that's what gets you going, like Jordan Belfort or whatever, you just want to do like 9 drugs a day, go for it.
basically where I was gonna go with it is like when you say recreational drug, are we just talking about weed or are we talking about like meth and coke and like everything?
Every single.
I think personally, I think marijuana should be discussed, like whether or not they should legalize it in the military and everything, just because like medical uses. But then it all just comes down to the fact is whether people can still get their job done or not.
But here's the thing that the military and like businesses can do. They can still legally drug test you. So if you choose to do that,
that's their right.
Yeah, then they shouldn't, like, if me as a business owner, I don't want to have the face of like, yeah, I have 6 meth heads working for me. So what? Like, that's not what I want.
No.
So I'm obviously going to drug test them to verify if I ever get called on for that, to be like, no, they're not these druggies. Like, I drug test them regularly, whatever. That's my right to be able to do. But your right to be an individual should be, do I want to do this drug and not have this job, or have this job and not do that drug?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with weed. Like, I think that weed should be federally legal. Like, I think that they should just knock their say out of it altogether. I mean, obviously, if we want to build shops and stuff, tax the hell out of it, sure, whatever. Sucks for me, but ultimately it's ending up helping the government rather than just giving it to the Mexican mafia.
Yeah. I would rather like disagree on most of that. I think methamphetamines, opiates, and all those drugs should never be even brought up or questioned federally or anywhere. Like, fuck, I don't care for those, and I don't think they should ever be legal. Like, good luck, Oregon. I love to see how this plays out. It's going to be fun watching how this goes.
Oh, because they legalized everything, right?
Yeah, they legalized everything. And then, but I seriously think...
Like, there's already crazy bastards up there.
Yeah.
Like, they're already shooting each other, and they're like, you know what these people need?
You know what these people need?
Unregulated drugs is what these people need.
Like, that's some Florida shit.
But
because Florida's all old people, and all they want to do is just hang out and
chill on the beach,
die high.
But the U.S. collectively and its military, well, I'll get to the military part, like, needs to look into marijuana and hemp and CBD and shrooms too, because shrooms has been medically helping a lot with like people with mental health issues and depression and anxiety and suicide.
Psychedelics help people.
Yeah,
with
for sure. Spiritual journeys,
yeah.
dude.
And so, but
just clarity or what?
Yeah, 100%.
There's a
psychedelic
veteran
search on the inside of the inside, like things that you
No
didn't
way.
even know you had issues with, will be brought to the forefront of your mind. Maybe like, and you know how people say hallucinations and stuff is a really big part of psychedelics, but your hallucinations stem from something.
Right, like you can't
Your
create
brain,
anything in your brain.
Your brain physically cannot ever create somebody's
Yeah.
face.
Right.
So like in your dreams, if
You've seen that person.
you've physically seen somebody.
That's almost like a sensory overload, though, because now
It
we have
is.
social media where you can see like 10 times the amount of
For sure.
anybody's faces.
Yeah.
That's probably where all these like mental health problems are coming from, because
For
there's
sure.
so much stimulation to where like our ancestors, they'd see maybe like 100 faces in their lifetime, so their dreams are like the same crowd. You know, so like, hey Frank, like, you know what I mean? But like us, it's like we have over probably 1 million faces, and we don't even know what to call them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild.
So like that's my theory on psychedelics. I don't think that psychedelics should be taken on a daily basis, but I'm just saying.
no, there is definitely a downer like it. There's an abuse to
It's
it.
not something to take whenever you are in a really bad position in life. It's not for that. It's for coming out of a situation or going into a new situation that maybe you're a little bit scared of.
Spiritual and medical uses.
Yeah, I 100% believe that if you took a psychedelic, and not like a crazy amount,
It's on
but
the
just
floor.
enough to like get you into that position where you're actually searching through yourself, you can find out a lot of things about your mind.
So
and
it's the thing where people are like, man, if I could just see myself out, like from an outside
Yes,
perspective.
100%.
It's called self-awareness.
It is.
You can do that without drugs, by the way.
Yeah,
For sure, you could, but it allows
reading, getting up early and stretching.
it allows that stimulation of your mind that you don't ever feel until you're in that state, though.
But yeah, there's there's a page that I follow, Veteran Wellness, and I'm pretty sure it's ran by a retired Navy SEAL or veteran Navy SEAL, and they're on track of like using mushrooms and like other psychedelics to, like, help with depression, and so stuff like that could, like, weed and psychedelics have a chance of like possibly helping depression and suicide rates in the military.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the reason I go back on it is because I think the military should look into it and do the research on it to whether people can do their job while on those things. Because I know for a fact
also
that
trying to get those people back into like being an effective, like productive member.
because I know there probably a lot of people, probably like Kieran, who can probably do very well while they're high. But there's also, I've seen people that could not.
Weed.
I don't do drugs.
People like Kieran.
I've never done drugs.
I know, but I'm
We're
saying
on
people
camera,
like you.
Dylan. Jesus Christ.
You can edit it out.
No, I won't.
Anyways, aren't you literally smoking right now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, who knows what's in that?
Paid for by you.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is
We're also brought to you by
Copenhagen and Juul.
One thing that should be illegal is Juuls. They are 100%
I fucking hate
addictive,
vape.
and they are
I fucking
horrible.
hate that shit.
Horrible, horrible, horrible for you.
But do you know what I mean? Like, there are people who can function very well while high, but then, like, I've definitely seen people in the military who are already useless, like, and can't do their job.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, the military, because it could definitely help a lot of people, like, medically, like, with CBD and hemp and, like, the oils and everything.
For sure.
But people can't use them because,
It's illegal.
yeah.
You get in trouble for it. If anything, I think that just doing drugs, like, on itself should not be a felony offense. I don't think you should be put in prison for.
Is it still a
having-
felony?
My dad
Arizona
told me,
lifted their laws on it.
just to fact check him, what is the average cost to keep someone in prison for a year?
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh, it is
$30,000. And then next look up how many people are in just for possession in the United States. $31,000 per inmate. If you can't read that,
A year?
$31,000 per inmate per year. Now Google how many people are in for just possession, because it used to be 3 strikes you're out, and like you just get caught with just minor possession 3 times. And
Well,
you
if
go
people
to
are,
jail.
like, drug dealing through state lines.
No, right.
Yeah.
That in my head should still be illegal, but you
Yeah.
should be able to go from your house to your buddy's house with a joint. Because you used to 3 times you get caught with a joint, you go to jail.
Really?
As of 2016, 2.3 million people were incarcerated in the United States at a rate of 698 people per 100,000. Total U.S. incarceration peaked in 2008.
2.3 million.
Yeah, 2.3
But that was
million.
in what year?
That was in 2016.
And it's dropped since then. Was that because of... Has it dropped? I'm assuming it's dropped since it doesn't have, like, a recent...
Yeah. Okay, so
My phone won't go that high, so if you could do that on your... Wait, maybe if I turn it this way. 2, 3... Yeah, 2.3 million times 31.
That's not million.
Yeah, that was.
No, it wasn't. I think you're very wrong. That's not what we're paying. No.
2, 3...
So
One,
this
2.
is actually just the mass incarceration.
That's
though,
200,300. That's 2300,000.
No, that's...
That's 230,000.
30 million.
That's million.
Yeah, that's million.
There's
You had me fucked up for a second.
there's one
That's 230
point-
million.
There's almost 1.3
Dude,
million.
so that's
in
2.3 million.
prisons.
I think that- Is that how you do 0.3?
But what that article
Yeah.
is showing is wrong, actually.
Could you just...
I'm just saying.
I'm supposed to have my engineering degree
I
pretty
just
soon.
read
But that's 2 million.
That's
you were, yeah.
2.3.
Yeah, you're giving it a lot of extra zeros.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
why
why I
is
was like,
that-
why is there so many zeros?
It's like, we're not paying
I'm
that
used to
much for
using like a normal calculator where I can do like scientific notation.
6 zeros. Is
Yeah,
million.
so
There
So
you go.
that's
Yes.
okay times 31,000.
uh,
So that's 71 billion.
there's 47 plus billion spent annually in the U.S.
Yeah, that's pretty
on
fucking
war
close.
on drugs.
No, that's war on drugs. So that's
Oh,
like,
that's not even
That's
the...
like not even incarceration, nothing. That is strictly the U.S. to stop people from doing drugs.
So
It's
just
47 plus billion.
So for what we can tell, $31,000 per inmate per year.
Yeah.
31,000 individuals are in just for possession, right? No. How many?
1.3 million.
Oh, good. Gosh, dang it. 30. No. Where did I get the 2.3 number?
2.3 is the total incarcerations in the U.S. right now.
How many people are just in for possession?
Ooh.
That's what I just read, but I
Sorry.
lost it. Gotta find it. How many people are in prison for marijuana charges? Alright, just marijuana charges.
In the U.S.?
2.3.
No, it's 2.3 million total Americans behind bars. 47.5% of prisoners were serving the sentence of any length that end in 2016 after being convicted of a drug offense.
So half of that?
Yeah, so about half of that.
So 1 point.
Yeah, I think it was like 1. It'd have to be like 1.7.
1.175
Yeah.
times 17500.
There you go.
Does that look right?
Yep.
Okay.
Still
so
a
that's
fucking
1,000,
billion.
100,000. Yeah, $54
billion.
billion.
Just on holding
Just-
people with marijuana possession charges.
That all depends on what they were doing, though, with marijuana, though.
What's the national student debt?
We're just looking at this.
I just want to know if we could be sitting at 0 right now. Like,
What's the national?
1.6 trillion.
Good God.
this ain't even. That's not. Is that half?
Yeah. No.
1.6
Yes.
trillion? That's less than.
No, it's
That's
54.
less than a quarter.
54 billion.
Is left. Oh yeah, that's
Well, then
that's
100
billion.
Ooh, no, that's
It's a
not even half. That's
billion
like
billion.
that's a
a
half
quarter.
a percent. No, 5%. Yeah,
No.
5%.
5%.
Oh, yeah.
If you let 5% of those go, you could forgive student loans. Broke your whole campaign, buddy. Sorry. In a matter of 5 minutes.
Jeez.
Imagine the things fucking
Jesus
drunk
Christ.
guys on the couch.
I'm just so shocked right now. I'm just so shook. He says, "What's the student loan debt?"
1.6 trillion. And how many of those people got C's? That's what I want to know too.
Got serious?
We can know one of them is there because that's where I'm at. So
That's absurd.
You can almost forgive all of America's student debt within a matter of a few years if you let all of those people go.
No, they would still have somewhere else to put the fucking money. Some bullshit place. No, we have to pay this.
no, well, yeah, but like
We're
if
just-
if
if it was
everyone
a
stopped
direct
going to
trade-off.
college and we let off all the prisoners who went to jail for weed, it would. It'd still take a while.
It'd take a little bit.
5%,
would-
so it'd take 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then think of what would that do? If people aren't going to college, then is that going to be an influx in,
Well, they're going to
And
college
jobs?
for free.
Yeah.
going to college for free?
So more people.
Or not going to college at all? I think you said not
Why-
going to college.
Yeah. And
Well-
it would give you something to focus on and something to do. Not necessarily that that's what those people want to do.
To roll into that, my opinion of college is if you want to take, like, all the math, all the physics, all the, like there's, like anthropology, like, those classes
All the useless
should
ones.
be free. And then if you want to take underwater basket weaving and, like, the weird classes that, like,
Yeah.
don't actually help you.
Engineering.
Excuse me. But like, if you want to take, like if you want to get your master's in dancing, you should probably have to pay for that.
Or maybe liberal arts.
No, but I'm also not saying engineering and like nursing should be free. I'm saying that like there should be at least 2 years worth of classes you can take for free. You could get your associates in general studies for free, just the cost of
That'd be
living and
cool.
not really being able to work because you're a full-time student.
Yeah.
Or you could work, and I mean, people do it all the time. Like, I don't think you should have to pay for 200 level classes and down.
For sure.
So that's my take on it. But
Don't normal college students like
The
normally hate general and they're like associates, like the lower classes? Don't they usually hate those ones?
yeah, because they're just time wasters.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
then
But
wouldn't it
I
be
will say
You get elective credits from.
I can type really well, and like they definitely help, but it's just it's not specific to what you want to do. But they're actually getting better at that now. They're like I was put in an English class with a bunch of other engineering majors, so like they're catering to like your degree. So it's like I really enjoy that. But that's also just New Mexico State University, so like I can't speak for the.
I guess what I'm trying to say is though, like, so the ones that are like mandatory that you have to take.
Yeah.
People are already unmotivated by those, right? Like
Right.
that don't want to take them.
Right.
But you already have to pay for them, so that's
And you
your
have to,
motivation.
Yeah.
But when you're taking that motivation away if it's free, then like why would they do it if it's free?
Because you still want your degree.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that there is at least 30% of students that should not be in college.
Probably.
They can do.
Like 30%
they
people
can.
that should
They
be in
can
military.
start their earning potential, or they can get the same earning potential and start their career 5 to 6 years earlier, and be way better off. Because those skills you learned in college, they don't actually pertain to like, and that's what everybody. That's the complaint. They're like, oh, I don't even use my degree. I'm like, okay, well, like that's not the school's fault.
That's not.
Like they offered it because they're a cash cow and they want to like take your money, but you weren't like gun to your head, take this like sociology class, like.
Yeah.
So it's like there are classes that you should like at least be able to take, So
In my theory, you shouldn't go to college unless you have a career line in your head.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to go in depth and like be applying to jobs or talking to bigger corporations about it, but at least have a goal of what job you want when you go into college. Not just this free willy. Like obviously you can go in and get your gen eds for an associate's degree and it'll help you on your bachelor's, because then you have those classes knocked out. So like use those 2 years to find a career choice and then dedicate the next 2 to 3 years following that career choice. That way when you get out, you have an understanding of what you're specifically looking for and what a lot of professors and stuff help you with. And I don't know if NMSU does it, but like going to school up in Iowa or even down here, all of the professors will get you to talk to certain people, and they have,
networking's huge.
Yeah, they have careers lined out that like if you chose that, they could help you, give you a step, like basically a foot in the door. Not guaranteeing that
if they like you, kind of thing. Yeah.
But obviously, if you're working hard and the professor sees that you're actually trying to accomplish this, like they'll be more than willing to help you.
But if you think about it, if at least, so let's say we make the first 2 years of college free, and those are just your gen eds. You can spread those out to whatever, but like just say you have at least 2 years of college free. I think there will be an influx of people that either don't know what they want to do with their life, and so they go to college for free. They still have to pay, some money, but I honestly think since we're so low in education, just the United States, I think that would help us so much, and then we would have a lot less conflict in other areas of life. So it's like if we all understand how to write papers and do a resume and like connect to a printer and like use the infinite amount of knowledge at our fingertips, there's going to be people, instead of like making a podcast or making a Snapchat and saying some questionable shit, they're going to be like, you know what, I'm going to fact check this. I'm going to go through my scientific method and like actually break it down and be like, should this shit come out of my mouth or not? Like because there's many a times I'll get on Twitter and I'll type something out and I'm like, if I was someone hiring and somebody tweeted this, I'd be like, maybe not. So you just have to at least think about that kind of stuff, because there's just people that just want to be famous,
I think also.
But here's my question. I have a question real quick, and this kind of is devil's advocate in your situation. But in capitalist America, how do you become a capitalist? If everybody, it's like the theory that if
by seizing opportunity.
Yeah. If everybody in America was given $1 million for being an American citizen, $1 million
We'd all be
would
broke.
be nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
You would essentially be in the exact same
Oh,
state
yeah.
you are
Yeah.
with some fake.
Why do you think I'm such against fucking stimulus checks?
Yeah.
It makes no damn sense. Like, make shit cheaper, don't give people money. Like,
Yeah, take off 3 months of rent and mortgage and bills.
Yeah,
instead
like,
of
not even that.
10.
Government
Just like-
bills. Government bills.
Yeah.
Lower government bills, which Donald Trump did a really good job on that. He sees the what is it called? It's called a he basically stopped all government loans. Any government loan that you had, you didn't have to pay on for a set amount of time.
Yeah.
Especially
Oh,
on student loans. It starts with an L.
no, it's not amnesty.
Is it amnesty?
No, it starts with an L. Anyway, it's that theory. So if everybody went,
Leniency? Something like that.
yeah, it's some type
Who knows?
It's a loan. It's basically a loan leniency. But here's my question. So in the sense of schooling, if everybody had a master's degree would then become the bare minimum.
Right.
So if you
the
didn't
master's
have a
degree
master's degree, you would be useless in the world.
to academia.
Essentially,
That's why I want to get my master's, because that's the new bachelor's.
for sure.
Like, to get if you get a master's degree now, your earning potential becomes what all the baby boomers say.
Yeah.
Because like, now you have a bachelor's degree. That's the new associates. People are like, oh, just a bachelor's. Guess you're not that hard a worker. Like,
Yeah. Didn't try that hard for very long.
I
did
guess.
ya?
Because it's like they don't care, and they want you to have 5 years experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, what? Like that
Yeah.
that makes me so mad.
I think some of that plays into internships, which I think colleges should really try to get more of, is internships. Like, if you're
They
joining-
just don't promote them as much.
Yeah,
I
I think they should promote a lot more of the internships. Like, you have a whole summer off. So if you're in a program, and I wouldn't do it for all the first years or second year, but like going into your second year summer, like you've already dedicated half of your time. So the college should find or help you find an internship in that career path that you're looking for, so that you can actually get involved, and then you see how your knowledge applies to that job. So then you're even more motivated, because you're like, holy shit, I actually used this. Like, this wasn't just a paper I wrote, you know?
I definitely think they do promote internships a lot more, but you were in a very specialized field.
Yeah.
So I
You
think
can't
you
enter
didn't really
as a
see
pilot.
it. No.
You landed like, what, 50 times? Yeah, dude, hop behind this Boeing 777. It's got autopilot. It'll take right good care of you. You got this. I'll just be
Dude,
in
I've seen Top Gun 1,000,000 times. Favorite movie. Like, I've got this.
I don't even need a landing gear. I mean, we're good. Done it on a simulator. So. No, but they definitely do push it a lot more. But like, what's really irritating to me is, and I think this just comes from me not having like superb grades, but like, just me as a person, I'll go to like a career fair. Dylan, you gotta stop bumping the table, man.
You'll be fine. It's my table.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, I'll go to a career fair, and I'll hand them my resume. First thing they look at is GPA, and if that does not say 3.0, they don't even, they just like check out. They're like looking around while you're talking to them, and they're just like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then some dude behind me, who's in like one club, and doesn't know his ass from his elbow, and can't talk, and can't like be efficient and shit like that, and he just like sits in his room all day. He has 3.0, and that dude's like asking him questions and being like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, oh my gosh, like, and it's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, it pisses me off.
I had a really interesting interview the other day. So I had an interview, and they were asking me, because I kind of explained out all of my job careers that I've had over the years, or whatever, and most of them are very accident prone, and it's not accidents that somebody could physically cause. It's accidents that just sheerly happen. Like, there's no way to forecast a dual engine failure on a UAV. There's no way. You can't,
But that
like,
happened to you?
you run through,
Right.
yeah, you run through your whole, pre-flight and everything. Check everything. Everything looks golden. So you send a plane out to fly 200 feet above the ground. It decides that both engines just shouldn't work anymore. So they just flat fucking stop. I told this story in the interview, and they looked at me like I was a psychopath. Like I could have caused that to happen. And I was like, it wasn't until after my interview that I realized, like, out of every situation that they gave me, because they asked me, like, if I'd ever been in, like, a scary situation or an accident had occurred, and I was basically the guy in charge. So I was aircraft commander, so I'm the one leading the show at that point in time. But when that happens, like, there's nothing I could do. It's all gonna fall on my head. Like, I'm gonna get checked. I have to get my blood drawn. I have to pee in a bottle. Like, I have to run through a whole bunch of paperwork, do a whole bunch of files, like, and then all the software engineers have to look at it and be like, yeah, he didn't do anything. It wasn't his fault. But even still, like, if I had marijuana in my blood or, like, a little hint of alcohol from maybe drinking a little bit of, like, mouthwash in the morning, they'd have been like, nope, he did it. It's like when you get stabbed in the arm and they're like, well, you didn't even have your safety shoes on. Like, you didn't have your heel toes on. Like, how the hell is that supposed to help my arm?
Where's your PPE? God, fucking
Yeah.
PPE.
So I had explained all these situations, and then walking out of the interview, I was like, I honestly look like I am a accident-prone human being. But in all reality, like, the accidents were cast upon me. There was nothing I could have done to prevent any one of them.
Well, if you would have done your safety checks, and if you would have made sure everything was
I
okay
did do
before
my
you take
safety
flight.
checks, which is why I didn't get fired. That's the only reason I still had that job.
Wait, this actually happened?
Yeah, that was a legit.
Oh,
my-
God. Missed that
I
part.
told him this story, and every time I tell the story, my heart still kind of beats out of my chest because our remote pilot, who was flying the plane at the time, and I was kind of just like reading him off all the stuff that was going on, and like I have my own checklist to run, and his checklist that I have to remind him of, and he's freaking out like, we're not going to crash this plane. We're not going to land this plane. We're not going to land this plane. If we hit the ground, call lawn dart. If we hit the ground, call lawn dart. Like, stop saying that. If we hit the ground, we know very well what to do. But you just need to focus on flying this plane.
Wait,
And
this was before everything happened? So he's like
yeah,
jinxing you guys?
yeah. This is right after I called out a dual engine failure.
Oh.
And then made all my calls to everybody announcing that I had a legitimate emergency and to clear the airfield. And like called for radio silence, everything. So I had everything cleared out. We were good to land. But the whole time I was doing that, I have him in the back of my
Just making it
microphone
worse?
just making these horrible, horrible comments. Making my freaking throat like swell up, and I'm like, we're not going to crash it into a city full of a bunch of people. I'm not going to kill a bunch of people. I'm not going to do it.
So while he's in your ear, God, this is going so terribly
Yeah.
wrong. I don't know if you know this and looking at the
Yeah.
same thing I am, but this is a shit show.
He's like, there's
I'm not
no
trying
way we can salvage this. The whole situation's just shit. I might as well just walk away now. Like, no, God, please don't do that.
But meanwhile, you kept calm and cool and did everything
I
right.
did it all right, and even ground
Fuck yeah,
or
bud.
tower when I got back or when we landed it back on the ground, I was like, tower, blah blah blah, my call sign, safe on deck, and he's like, I just wanna let you know, blah blah blah, you did really well, and I said, thank you, tower.
Thank you, Tower.
Thanks, tower.
Wait, you're not allowed to say your call sign outside of...
Hell no.
Really?
Hell no.
Am I the only one that doesn't understand why? I know, but like, is it a security threat?
Because what if somehow someone intercepted radio, and then they put together that that's him, and then now they know they can target him because that's his radio sign. Because they don't know if anybody monitored it.
Or the call sign could be used again, so then they know what call signs to hear out for.
Because it's familiar, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's
I'm-
good. Yeah.
I didn't really get it. I mean, I suspected, but I was like, no. Well, it's pretty cool though.
Maybe
I mean,
only if you as a dedicated pilot had a specific call sign, like Goose, and then like 50 years later, then you could tell people like, yeah, that's Goose.
I feel like Goose is a very.
Why you gotta
common
bring
name.
up Goose, man?
I feel like
Because
too soon.
Goose
Too
needs
soon.
to be remembered.
It's true. Gotta let his legacy live on.
Everyone forgets about Goose. I always think about the Top Gun, you know?
I was thinking about that earlier
Oh,
today.
bad boy.
I was thinking
What
about that
about
earlier
Goose?
today. I'm gonna call my kid. Like whenever my kid calls me, I'm like, "What's up, Goose?"
That was like the shake and bake,
Dude, just like
slingshot
flashbacks.
move.
You look like PTSD.
All right. Maskers versus anti-maskers.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, I
That's-
like this debate.
My exact same theory on everything I believe in America. If you feel so strongly that you are going to get coronavirus by going out into public, that you feel you should wear a mask, I honestly feel like you should take it the whole 100 yards and put on a full biochemist suit with a ventilator and a particulate filter and everything. Like, that's legitimately the only way you can 100% guarantee that you're not going to get that virus. In all reality, if you're that scared, you should invest in that and buy it and then go to the store in that. As for the rest of the population, like normal Americans, or my theory of what a normal American would be, if you want to go to the store and risk getting coronavirus, get coronavirus. Who cares? Stay in your home. Pass out all day. Sleep in. Who cares? Nobody gives a shit.
What you mean to say is your health is not my responsibility.
Exactly.
That's what it
I
comes
wanna
down
hear
to.
your output.
It's like, dude, you want to wear a mask? It's basically what he's like. If you want to wear a mask, fine, but like my life isn't in your hand. Like you're not in charge of my life. So fuck off. Quit trying to tell me to wear a mask. Unless I'm going into a court where I have to fucking wear a mask.
I
I wear
look
one.
up the CDC guidelines.
I wear one because it's like when I walk past like a little old lady,
What?
and it's like like I don't really pay attention to symptoms.
Yeah.
Like if I had a cough or like I was congested, I'd be like, oh, it's whatever. Like,
Yeah, like
I'm
well,
just a
that's
little
the way
sniffly today.
Yeah, the way I grew
and
up,
it
is you
doesn't
have to
even
suck it
affect
up.
me. And then I walk past some little old lady, and
Yeah.
it just like somehow gets on. I'm like,
Like what Kieran was saying yesterday. Like if it got him or his team sick
But, like,
and their grandma.
I don't. Do I think it's a bunch of bologna? Yeah, I do. I think that Bill Gates invented this virus to prove a point.
Bill Gates
5
can't
years
take us out.
for the 5 years ago, he was like, "Man, our pandemic protocols are like non-existent." And then,
Yeah, did you see that?
And then there's a pandemic,
He was like, there could like in a couple years a virus could happen.
and then it's not even a bad virus. 0.02
Yeah,
survive-
and that's another thing.
death rate.
If you to me personally, I don't. Before the numbers even came out, clearly like the virus isn't as bad, is what they were saying.
Because to me, it sounds like someone wanted to prove a point, but didn't actually want to kill a bunch of people.
100%.
It's like they wanted to win a
But-
vote.
So back to the
Yeah.
mask situation.
Biden's president-elect, so we have a vaccine. If anybody was wondering,
Only 90% effective though.
we've had it this whole time.
So CDC says maintain 6 feet apart distance, which in all reality, if you're scared of it, maintain 15 to 20 because that's about as far as the sneeze can catch you. So
The Rona.
if you are
God,
20
it's
feet
so-
away from all people at all times, you don't have to wear a mask. There's no reason. You ain't never gonna catch it.
That's why I
It's
put my
not
mask
even
down here and
gonna
I go past someone and I pick it up. It's
Yeah.
like I still want to breathe
Well,
air. Like,
Yeah.
To basically regurgitate every fucking meme that anybody has seen, like
That's a good point.
it's if the mask worked, why the 6 feet? If the 6 feet worked, why the mask? If
It's
those work,
situational.
then why the shutdown? If the shutdown works, why second shutdown? If the second shutdown didn't work, then why another shutdown?
I
If
will
the-
agree with the last portion of your statement there, like why the continuous shutdowns, and they're
Yeah.
always going to argue that people didn't actually do it. It's
Yeah.
like I do understand the masks and the 6 feet because you know damn well that if there was like a crowded, if you walk down Safeway or Walmart and you're getting some Oreos, and Oreos are on the other end of the aisle, and there's a person here and a person here, and they're 6 feet apart, and you don't want to split that distance. You ain't gonna walk your happy ass around to go get Oreos.
But at the same
But if
time,
you were actually scared of the coronavirus,
you would. That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
people aren't gonna do that.
and then
So you see what I'm saying?
but to continue it this far after all the riots, all the protests,
Which
and
I've
all
told
the
a lot of
corporate
friends.
America still open, just as flooded compared to a small business, like Who are you trying to fool still after almost a year of still trying to like shut everything down and keep everybody separated and wear face covering? Like
one good thing that I did think came out of this whole virus situation though is the fact that like
all the
these
people exposed.
networking companies found out that they can function just as efficient with people sitting at home versus in an office space.
That's how we're gonna
That was a test
combat
run.
global warming right there.
For sure.
Is like people are just gonna stay at home and they don't have to like go to work every day.
Yeah.
And then you get to
You
cut
don't have
down
to
on
drive,
office
you don't have to-
buildings.
Yeah, and you save so much money. Like, you have an hour commute every day to work, which is a pretty average commute to work.
Yeah, 30
is an hour. You spend 1 hour going to work, 1 hour coming back. That's 2 hours worth of gas. So you're
Well,
saving
shut
probably
the
a
fuck
good
up.
15 bucks a day just in fuel. Like, that's gonna come back.
And that's less fuel that we have to pull out of the
Pull it.
ground.
Yeah.
And then that's less fuel we have to burn to generate electricity at a plant to push to that office building. And it's like,
Sure.
yeah, it's gonna cut down on like the capitalism America, but it's like we're already kind of indulging ourselves a little too much.
We do.
Like if you had a shop that you had to like actually like display your stuff and your biggest profit was or your biggest customer influx was like people coming in and seeing it because maybe online doesn't do it justice, like yeah, but now everything's online. You don't need
Yeah.
to see something in a window and be like, wow,
That's really cool.
that's cool. Now you're on Instagram and you're scrolling on Instagram and you tell your dad, hey, I need a high pressure oil pump for my truck, and then you like 10 scrolls later you're like,
Oh shit.
thoroughbred
An
diesel,
H-pop.
an H-pop right there.
Would you look at that? That
And
is
then-
one interesting thing about social media is the fact that they listen to your conversations.
I've learned to enjoy it because I'm like, man, I could really use a new hat. and then,
It's like hats,
you don't even have to search it. They just give you some lit ass options, man. Like
You can like people can doubt that shit all they want, but I literally talked about what's it called, chauffeurs, the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Like not even a comment, not about hats, shirts, t-shirts, coffee. Talk about chauffeurs with Emma one day, like for a couple minutes. Next fucking morning, it's a goddamn chauffeurs ad that I've never seen in my life before on my Instagram. So it's disgusting.
Yeah. See, that's one of those things though that like, you know for damn sure you're never gonna get rid of your smartphone.
Bullshit.
It's
Bullshit. I went to a track phone for like 2 years.
I know you had a cell phone. It
So
was
fuck
really
you,
hard
big
to
government.
send you emojis.
I remember
I
getting like
remember.
blocks.
I had to spell it all out for Dylan every time I wanted to send it.
crafting line face.
Or I'd have to like try to build it in the parentheses, you know, like when we were in middle school.
That can-
Parentheses and
Did you
dots
say
and
crafting?
Huh?
I said crying.
He said crafting. I didn't say crafting. I
I
think
feel like I said crafting.
somebody said crafting. It was one of
We'll
them.
edit that out. That was
Replay. But I think that's a good point that we could lead into is that like people need to learn to like take breaks and separate themselves from social media throughout their day and throughout the like a solid 30-day cleanse or 21-day cleanse, or like what I like to do is like like as soon as you wake up, like no phone 30 minutes.
Oh, no, for
before
sure.
before you like
Read a book.
well, the original,
stretch,
my
drink some
original
coffee.
strategy, my original strategy was like no phone 30 minutes at waking up, no phone 30 minutes before and after the gym, no phone 30 minutes before going to bed. But then like do that before everything. Like I've been pretty bad on my phone, like driving, and so like
Same.
definitely no phone driving, no phone. Maybe like if you know what time you're leaving to go, like no phone 30 minutes. Like it seriously helps out a lot, and it feels fucking
It does.
great.
It brings you to a level of clarity.
Yeah, like a normal human being,
Yeah.
like the way you're supposed to be.
Like your phone dings, and like I'm not saying I'm at this level of clarity, but like it'd be nice, like your phone dings and you're like, yeah, I'll look at it later, you know, like.
Well, I feel like actually now that I think about it, Kieran doesn't have a problem apparently, because anytime I try to call this motherfucker,
Never.
the
Never.
group chat the other
Never
day,
have my
he
phone
literally
on me.
whoever, I think it was Ross or John, sent a picture. It was in the morning, and then people replied, and then Kieran replied like in the evening. He's like, "Wow, cool." He's all, "Where are you going?" It was Ross driving, and I was like, "What do you mean?" I looked at the group chat. I was like, the fuck? I was like, I don't even know what he's talking about. I was like, you just now looking at this?
Dude,
It's been 8+ hours.
Horrible. I literally lose my phone all the time, which helps a lot because like 98% of the time I flat even can't even find it.
Well,
So,
I
like,
envy it, but then at the same time, it's so goddamn frustrating because you're one of the few people that I like to talk to.
Dude, I know. It's like the
It's a catch-22.
people you like to talk to is like the most genuine people because they're
Yeah.
not on their phone and when you're not around them, you want to talk to them on their phone. It's like, your phone.
just need you to reply really quick.
Well, the cool thing is like, well, I guess that's the reason it helps with him is because Lee's the same way. Yeah. So like it's not where
She's
if
a
she
lot
was,
easier to get in her hole too, though.
But I guess it makes sense because if she was on her phone a lot, I guess he would too. Because I mean, that's usually what happens if you see somebody on their phone.
Yeah.
Like
Leah's also easy to get a hold of because she's always on her computer for school, so her phone rings and it goes to her phone.
Oh, does she have a watch too, though, or no?
She has one. Too.
Yeah.
I bought her an iWatch for Christmas a few years ago.
Okay, I'm excited about this topic. Democrats versus Republicans civil war.
Ooh.
I just I consider myself purple. Okay, like I'm not. If I had to if I had to pick a side, it'd be Republican, obviously. But I am kind of mixed in my views. Like abortion. Do I think abortion is correct? No. Am I gonna speak out on it and tell people that they're wrong? Also no. Or life, but also no vagina. Like I'm not gonna argue with someone. Like if they're like, oh, it's my body, my choice. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But if I had a vagina and I got pregnant, I'd keep the baby. Because in my head, sex is like, you have sex to have babies.
For sure.
Because people are like, oh, it's just the physical feeling. I was like, right. But the point of sex is to have babies. So if you don't have babies, don't have sex.
For sure.
I just want to go over two things. I'm glad you said that because that's where I have been lately. Where I finally really like, I don't know why I just thought about abortion came up and I finally thought about it. I was like, dude, like, I guess I'm against abortion, but at the same time, I'm a guy. I don't know what it's like to get pregnant or have a vagina. Like, it is not my fucking say.
Right.
The biggest issue in abortion in my head is the fact of like raping. Like you don't.
Exactly.
I
Well,
can
that
see
too,
how
but
that would eat at you.
Carry on with your thought there.
Well, there's two things. So like the abortion thing. But yeah, that's where I've came to the conclusion. I was like, these officials who are male should just stay the fuck out of it. And if it's, do we leave it up to like female officials who are higher up? Like, maybe.
I think it shouldn't be like a big ticket conversation item.
For sure.
I think it shouldn't even be a law. Like, it should just be a third party medical option that if you want to utilize, you can.
Well, there's also the thing. The thing about apparently all these fetuses being used and going missing.
Yeah.
You were talking about that, right? Stem cells.
Well, did you read? I don't know if you guys follow Ian Fitness. No. He's the big fitness gym owner that's been going against his governor, keeping his gym open, and like being fined up the ass, and this other government official tag team with him against that governor, like helping him out, keeping them open. But he read off, like he's gotten super political, and like I'm glad I found this guy because he points out a lot of good things. He read the ingredients in the COVID vaccine, and apparently there's like, I don't remember exactly, but in the vaccine there are basically body parts from aborted fetuses because they use them in medicine more than you would think, apparently. But Jesus. That's another big issue, apparently.
It is. It's a giant issue in America. That's one of the biggest things.
Because
like aborted babies.
My thing, like back to like the ethics part of it, and mom, dad, if you're seeing this, sorry for you having to hear this, but it's like I don't have sex with a girl unless I see myself having a kid with her. It's like it's not even really like whether or not I can like be happy with her. It's like if I could tolerate this human for the rest of my life. It's like I might not marry her, but like I'm gonna have to deal with her a lot, and it's like and I'm pretty like archaic when I look at like women, I'm like, oh, is she tall? Can she like do things? Is she like physically capable? And like,
can she clean the dick? I'm just kidding. Fucking.
that's not. I don't even care about that like stuff, bro. But like, I think genetics like hardcore when it comes to like.
Are we gonna make a
'cause to
D1
me-
baby?
To me, exactly. Like I'm picking a mate, and it's like because the mental side of things is pretty large too because I have a lot of weird thoughts. But like first things first is I pick like genetics, and like I tried to explain that to women before, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, so what you're saying is you don't like me?" And I was like, "You're laying in my bed right now. Like I don't."
What do you mean?
I don't know what you like. You think I just let people in here? Like,
Yeah. Also, had a second point was that I don't know how this led from civil war to abortion.
well,
True.
well, let's get back to it then.
'Cause
Republicans
well,
versus
we can go
Democrats
on
in
about
war.
abortion, how fetus and like the
I mean,
total.
we could, yeah. I mean,
But
we might be able to get like 3 episodes out of this dang
Yeah.
recording. I think it's funny that the Democrats are like, okay, and I'm gonna do the thing that I tell people not to do. I'm gonna generalize here. Okay, if you took the average Democrat, the ones that are on social media, because there's gotta be
There's
a large, quiet majority
for
of
sure.
Democrats that are like, you know, they're like because we're kind of generalizing the same thing. Like we're Republicans, but like we're not gonna be like, oh, you voted for Biden, well I'm gonna have to fucking stab you now. Like we're like maybe Dylan, but you know, fuck. But it's like there's got to be Democrats the same way that they still like their guns, they still like to blow shit up, like. So there's gonna be a silent majority, but there's probably like it's the same thing. But like the Democrats that speak up are the ones that are absolutely hilarious to me. They're purple hair and they're getting pushed in rallies and they're just like, my arm,
Well,
like laying on the ground.
Like you're at a riot. You didn't get the memo.
You're in an Antifa riot with a fucking, was it a Molotov
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
cocktail that's on fire and you get punched in the nose and you're like, oh my god.
that leads into the wrong people have been talking for both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
For
And what
sure.
what
They both
pisses
piss me off.
What pisses
For
me
sure.
off is that there's these huge Instagram influencers who are like mainly conservative or like they don't even like they're more right wing but they don't claim to be on that side just because like they don't want to be generalized with it, and they say if you're a real American then you should be doing this and that, and I'm like, dude, like you have like really good ideas and values, like you should talk the talk and walk the walk. If you were like led as an official or a politician, even though they don't want to, because that's their thing. Like, I would never run for office, and it's like, why not? Like, why aren't you leading? Because you would probably help out this country a lot more than what you would do. A lot more success and less damage than what these people are doing.
If we had people like that just served their like 4 or 5 year term and then just like ended it, and then we just had an influx of people that did that, we would be so much better off instead of having these career politicians.
Yeah.
If you just like, you just take 4 years off, like your business that you started or like your job, and you just like, you kind of work part-time and you're like, hey, I want to go into service. Like, I guarantee you your boss would be like, oh, you want to be mayor? Like, yeah, you can work part-time. Because like, I honest to God believe politicians should have jobs.
For sure.
Other than being a politician.
Well, that's what it originally was supposed to
Yeah.
be. They're supposed to represent the people.
We need
It's
to
supposed
bring
to be
back.
a job, but
we
it's
need to bring back covering politicians in tar and feathers and throwing them outside of damn
tar and
town.
feather. I've been wanting to make that a thing. Tar and feather. I've been wanting
Let's
to
make
like,
T-shirts.
yeah.
For sure.
But and I-
Normalize tar and feathering.
But I even brought it up. Yeah, bring back tar and feathering. I brought it up to, I think it was Kieran the other day, where this guy I follow, he said he doesn't trust any all politicians are shit. That he doesn't care if like he's a special forces veteran and everything. He said that he doesn't care if they serve or not. Like if they go into a political career, like they're corrupt, they're garbage and everything. And I agree with almost everything he says. But that it's like we need representatives and politicians. So we can't take politicians away. What needs to be done is like people like you need to give yourself more credit and actually step up, because if we had people like you leading, like for example, people like Dan Crenshaw, Jocko Willink, David Goggins, just an example, not those specific people, but people like that who like if people, those are good people. Like I don't know what I'm trying to say.
So here's my question though. This might be, I don't know them at all, but this just as a devil's advocate. If you were to actually step up, it is way easier to say something and say how to fix something rather than stepping up to the plate and actually solving the problem. Like, you ever realize when you're in like a big group of friends and an issue gets presented and everybody says, I think we should do this, I think we should do this. How many of that people in the friend group actually just get up and start doing it?
I kind of see your point, but it's like also like we talked about like in the last episode we did, like people are malleable as hell.
Oh, for sure.
Like whoever has control of that group or that room, if they're like, what's up with the Republicans? Like me as a registered Republican be like, yeah, what is up with those Republicans?
Yeah, fuck those
Like,
guys.
Well, I think
Do you know
that's
what I
the
mean?
point of having. That's the original point of having different parties. Is just so because if you're in a room where we all agree on the same thing,
It's
then
dangerous.
It's dangerous. You need people that like
You
oppose
have
your
to,
ideas,
you
and
have
that's
to
why.
have opposition.
Yeah, that's why you need like friends who aren't exactly like-minded like you,
Because
but
you're
like
forced to explain
yeah.
yourself. And like that's why I think that like when people are like, oh, how is your girlfriend or how is your wife like a Democrat? It's like, first off, that has no weight to like intellectual
Yeah.
property.
And
And second off, it's like we talk things through. Jesus Christ, Waylon, how could you?
That's
We need to introduce Waylon one of these days. Waylon's the rabbit, if you're wondering.
it's a mascot.
Dude, you should pet him.
Think Fluffy on the wall.
So anyway, like you should seek people with different views of like similar intellectual property, so that way you can actually talk things out. And like, I remember I've been like with other people, and they're like, "Why do you argue with me so much?" I'm like, "I'm debating. If we were arguing, or like, why do you fight with me so much?" It's like if we were fighting or arguing,
Yeah.
there'd be holes everywhere, shit's on fire, and you would know. Like, my eyes change, and shit, you know,
I would
shit's gonna get like.
legitimately be angry.
Like, there's a reason I don't get mad. Like, I get irritated, but like, I want to find a solution that works for both of us.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that takes. Just because I raise my voice doesn't mean I'm mad, you know. But like,
Right.
like people get irritated. They're like, "Why do you fight with me so much?" I'm like, "I don't fight with you."
Leah and I, that's one thing that really kind of drew me into Leah is like, we are very, very opposite people.
Mm-hmm.
Very opposite on all ends of the spectrum. I'm a warrior. I am somebody who, if I see somebody in trouble, I will attack people for somebody else. Like, that is in my genetics. That's who I am.
You're a sheepdog.
That's how I was. Yeah, exactly. I'm a
Mhm.
sheepdog. That's exactly what I am. She, on the other hand, is a caregiver. So, for her to see my point of view, being like, if like, say somebody says something snarky to her, it immediately lights a fire in my soul, and I'm just like, talk about my wife like that again, I'll knock your nose back.
Essentially, that's the same coin, different sides.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then Leah, on the other hand, is like, why would you break his nose? Then I would have to like clean it up, and like I would have to help him. Like, that would not solve any of the issues. But in my head, it would make him stop. He ain't gonna say nothing no more.
But that's what irritates me with when people are like, oh, like the gender wage gap, and like oh, like we need to be the same. It's like men and women have their roles in society.
For sure. And
It's
it
like if
doesn't
we
mean
make
that
everything equal, it's gonna bring in balance. As weird as that sounds, it's like you have to have your yin and your yang.
What is it called? It's not equality. It starts with an E as well.
I think I know what you're talking about.
But it's basically equality on either side. So, like, say you have a dude who's...
Oh, it's where you're... Okay, I know what you're talking about. So, say you have 3 different guys. One's
Yeah.
6 foot, one's 5 foot, one's 4 foot. Instead of giving everyone one box, you give the 5 foot guy one box and the 4 foot guy two boxes, so
boxes.
everyone can see over the fence.
Yeah. It's
So I think
essentially...
that's equity.
Is it
no,
equity?
it's
I don't
not
think it's equity.
Equilibrium or something. I don't know.
Well, anyway, that's my theory. So like on the like men versus women, like, do I think that I give more into my relationship than I think Leah gives into our relationship? Not at all. Do we have very different roles? I bring in all of the money in our family. I bring all of our income onto the table. Now, her, on the other hand, she just has college and like that's what we want, but that's what works for us. So other people from the outside looking in is like, that's like I'm basically a dictator in my house because I control the income. But that's not the real thing. It's like I bring in the income, she makes sure the bills get paid. I make sure that the accounts are filled to where they need to be for all of the bills get paid. So it's like it's a give and take. Like
Exactly.
That doesn't mean like I make her clean the house and do the dishes and stuff all the time. Like I gladly help with that. I'm a human being and I know I make a mess. So like why am I not gonna at least chip in to help
Exactly.
clean the house? Like that doesn't make me a chauvinist because I want a wife that will cook and clean and makes me food and brings me food and like that type of thing. That's what I want. That's what I looked for in a female. But that doesn't mean on the other hand that I'm not gonna cook meals for her and I'm not gonna assist her in all of the things that I want. But it just, in my opinion, like, I love to build things. I can build anything out of wood. I'm pretty good at woodworking, pretty good at metalworking, or metallurgy, and that type of stuff. Hit me up after this podcast. But anyway, so I have all these different attributes that I bring into our relationship, like when Leah sees something on Pinterest that she freaking loves, and then she hounds me about it, so I build it for her. Then I build it for her. But Leah, every day, that doesn't mean that, like, I'm one step ahead because I gave my wife this big, extravagant gift. Like, nobody sees, like, the every day that she's made me meals, like, so
Exactly.
there's always a behind the scenes that people never see. And it doesn't mean that Leah is any less than me or I will ever be any less than Leah. We just have two separate jobs that need to get covered.
You're doing roles almost.
Yeah, yeah.
But like Pinterest is every tradesman's or like blue collar male's worst enemy.
5, sure. You have no idea. Actually, I can show
Look
you
what I saw on
in
Pin-
this
No.
room.
No.
I can show you in this room a few Pinterest ideas. That's actually 100% Kieran crafted.
The rabbit cage?
Yeah, that came out of my head and my head alone. Nobody threw any ideas into it. That was 100% built by me. And
Technically no, because I mean you've seen rabbit cages before. Or houches.
Yeah, but he didn't like copy it off of
So
something.
I know, I got you. I was just trying to be
Yeah, kind of.
trying to be an asshole.
But like, there's a lot of things in this house that came from Pinterest, and it's very sad because I had to do it all. But yeah.
But anyways,
We've gotten
If
an
the-
hour and 16 minutes just from 4 bullet points.